Oh, I hope so.
She better be. Who are you looking for?
And you?
But they don't start until 10. So.
Right. And this one, let's see. She should be here too.
So is this like this person?
Yes.
You just never have enough space up here. So pardon me while
They're spreading out a little bit.
This was made before computers were invented.
Right.
So if
Yeah,
ever
you
your
can kind of
computer,
tell.
You can have plenty
Good thing they're small laptops.
Yeah.
instead of built into
Remember the first laptops?
Yeah, they're huge.
the.
Call this meeting of the Fremont County Board of Commissioners to order. If you'll please rise and join us by invocation by Grant Atkinson from the Canyon Cowboy Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Let's bow together.
Good morning.
Father, we're very humble. We're grateful for the protection you've given our country. And as we just had the memories of Memorial Day, D-Day, our Flag Day coming this week, Father, we're grateful for what that flag stands for and what it's flown for so many years. And we'd pray for our men and women in the military and our armed forces around the world, that you'd protect them and their families today. And we thank you for the strength and protection you give us. Thank you for the leadership in our country. Father, we'd ask for your direction there in our state. And thank you for our county commissioners, our city officials, that you give them your guidance, their blessing on their family, their homes, and our community. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Grant. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner Payne.
Present.
County Attorney Jackson.
Present.
County Manager Bryant.
Present.
Planning and Zoning Director Garrett.
Present. All right. First thing on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I do have I guess I'll just make a correction on number 3 and 4. Instead of Autumn Deaver, we will have Judy Lonis presenting those.
All right. With those corrections, Mr. Chair, I move to approve today's agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve today's agenda. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
On to the consent agenda. I will note that we are scheduling a public hearing for a single-family owner-occupied housing rehabilitation program through the COG, and that will be scheduled for June 25th at 10 o'clock.
That, Mr. Chair, make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
On to staff and elected officials. We have a county manager report. Ms. Sunny Bryant. Good morning.
Good morning. So just a couple of quick updates. Our county has been without a noxious weed director since April the 11th. We are in the process of hiring that position, and we're hoping to have the new person starting on Monday. So we have contracted with an individual who has been doing some spraying as well, but with all of the moisture, I know that there's a lot of areas that have seen that growth, and so we're hopeful that over the next couple weeks we can work to get caught up in that area. On Tuesday, May 30th, we hosted a county supervisors training, and it was very well attended by our county employees. So I wanted to say thank you to Tammy Childs for coordinating that. I think she did a great job in getting somebody in here that they did a great job in presenting some very critical and sensitive information, but it's something that we all have to be very aware of. On June 3rd through 5th, the commissioners and I attended the CCI conference. And it was a great way for, I know myself as an administrator, to network with other county managers and see what's going on in their communities, and then get some very critical information that the state may be seeing over the next year or so. And then yesterday, the commissioners and I attended a tour of the City of Canyon City Water Treatment Facility. So we appreciate Bob Hartzman giving us a tour of that facility. It was very informative. So that's all I have right now.
Thank you. So that, any other reports from anyone?
I'm good.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Bell?
I would just like to get word out a little bit early and ask people to start marking their calendars. We have a brick wall at the Colonel Leo Sidney Boston War Memorial Park, which is out at Fremont County Airport. Anyone who lived in Fremont County or was living in Fremont County at the time that they served in any of the the armed services is eligible for a dedicated brick. It can be a memorial brick if someone has passed on, or an honoring brick if that person still happens to be with us. We occasionally have new brick dedication ceremonies, and we have added some new bricks out there. We are ready to dedicate those. So we decided what better day than Independence Day. So Thursday, July the 4th at 8:30 a.m., we are dedicating new bricks at the airport, and we would love to see a really great crowd out there. So consider this your invitation. We would love to see one and all. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very good, thank you. That's what I was going to talk about, so I'm good.
Well, okay
Or
then.
ditto, I guess I should say. I don't know. All right, anyone else? All right. Next, we move on to citizens who wish to address the commissioners on matters not scheduled on the agenda. I don't have any sheets. I don't see anybody rushing the podium, so we'll move on to old business, which there is none, so on to new business. Our first item is a proclamation for Elder Abuse Awareness Day in Fremont County. June 15th, we have Representative C.J. LaPresti, sorry about that, and Mick Stump from the Department of Human Services. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, real quick, I want to thank the commissioners for, as always, letting us come out for Elder Abuse Awareness Day. And as always, we'd like to bring something from the Department of Human Services as far as resources or information. And I have CJ LaPresti here with me, and then also Kelly Broomfield, also with Adult Protection Services, who's going to pass out some information. But one of the big things we wanted to pass out today was the Southern Colorado Seniors Blue Book. It's a great resource for our senior citizens in Fremont County and for Southern Colorado. It talks about services, supports, legal aid, whatever it may be that our seniors may be wanting or needing. There's also a website for the Seniors Blue Book, so we wanted to pass that out and share it with everyone. If any of the citizens watching on air today, want to come out to the department and ask for a copy, we have those available for that as well. And then also for adult protection, we're going to be passing out our Speak Up magnets, and it's really just some basic information on when you do have a concern regarding abuse or neglect of an at-risk adult, whether it be financial exploitation or actual abuse or neglect, with the department's phone number on it, and please, if you suspect or know that, to report it. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to CJ, who's going to read our
All right,
proclamation.
thank you.
Thank you.
World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, June 15th, 2019. A proclamation. Whereas Fremont County includes a community of elder Americans who have worked their entire lives to create a vibrant, thriving community that we live in, and they deserve our care and respect. Whereas Fremont County recognizes that as members of our county, we have a responsibility to ensure seniors are protected from abuse, neglect, and exploitation. Whereas Fremont County is committed to raising awareness about the abuse and neglect of our seniors and encourage citizens to report the abuse and neglect of our elderly. Whereas our community can provide opportunities to educate the community by understanding that elder abuse can happen to anyone, a loved one, a neighbor, and when we are old enough, it can even happen to us. Elder abuse affects seniors across all socioeconomic groups, cultures, and races. Elder abuse can occur anywhere, in a person's home, in nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and other institutional settings, and in hospitals. Now, therefore, we, the county commissioners, by virtue of the authority vested in this board, do hereby proclaim June 15th, 2019, World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. And in doing so, we urge all citizens to join in a worldwide effort to share in the vision of one person, one action, one nation, united against elder abuse. Thank you,
Thank you.
Commissioners.
Thank you.
Okay, commissioners?
I just would first like to thank you and commend you all for the work that you do. I, within the last year or so, had I guess it was an opportunity to report what I believed was elder abuse happening within my own neighborhood. There were others also I know who had reported it, and I so appreciated what the department did in stepping in intervening, in finding out information to see exactly what the story was and what really was happening. So I just want to say thank you. This can't be an easy job for you to do, to deal with every day. To see some of our most frail members of society being taken advantage of is truly heartbreaking. So thank you for the work that you all do. And with that, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the proclamation for Elder Abuse Awareness Day in Fremont County on June 15th, 2019.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded to approve the proclamation for Elder Abuse Awareness Day in Fremont County, June 15th, 2019. Any further discussion? I too want to thank you guys for what you do. Any time we have something with abuse in the title, it's a sad situation. So to make this awareness out there is very important. And as you said, these folks were pillars in our community at one time, and now that they need help, it's good that somebody steps up for them.
That's right.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I want
Thank
one
you.
of those books as well for
So
you
do
guys
I.
later.
Uh-huh.
Please.
Yep.
There's a lot of useful stuff in here, and they update it every year, so.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item number 2, which is a joint land use study, implementation process presentation. We have Ann Werner from Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments here this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you all for having me. As I explained to Sunny earlier, the program manager, Brian Potts, is at the Defense Communities Conference in Washington, D.C., or he would be speaking to you today, so just bear with me. So go ahead and do the next slide for me.
And we just appreciate the fact that you did choose to show up, so thank you.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, no. I believe in what we're doing. This is, to me, the most valuable, professionally exciting project that I've ever worked on.
That's
And
wonderful.
It means a lot. I'm an Air Force kid, so now I get to kind of work through a process with the military is very valuable, personally and professionally. And I think that what we're doing is going to make a big difference down the road. The area that you see here is the same area that we represented to you when we came down and spoke about 6 months ago. Kind of an overview of the project. So it includes Fremont County because there is, training use that happens here, as you're all aware, with Fort Carson, the high altitude training, and sometimes there's additional use at your airport. Go ahead, next slide, please. The phase that we're going to discuss today is basically we've moved from the study itself, which was completed in December, to the implementation process. That is another grant process through the DoD. It's an 18-month grant for the first phase of implementation. We didn't receive that. We were expecting it in January, didn't really receive it until the end of March, but in the interim, we were transportation planners for PPACG. But now that we have the grant, we've been moving forward on the projects and the implementation first phase. And those include some of the information up there. The growth factors, the possibility of getting Space Command and what that may entail. All this work that we'll be doing is basically facilitating the tasks of the implementation itself. So we'll be working with the citizens, elected officials, the public, and the military. Next slide, please. So the highlighted in red are the tasks, the 8 primary tasks of this implementation grant. This is an 18-month grant. It'll go through, we expect to extend it because of the 3-month delay in receiving it. We expect to extend it into 2020, and then we'll go for a second implementation grant, which will be an additional 18 months for a total of 3 years altogether. But the items in red are the ones that are most likely going to impact or affect in some way the Fremont County, Canyon City area. So the first one, and we'll get into this in a little bit more detail, is we're in the process of standing up the Implementation Policy Committee. And many of the members that were on the study committee may transition, but we've presented a letter of request to think about a nomination to serve on the policy committee, and that will begin in July of this year. We'll start the first meeting. The other tasks are to work on informational brochures, real estate disclosures, the regional energy radar site mapping that we're going to work on for regional airspace. Task 7, we'll jump down to that, is to look at appropriate funding mechanisms to coordinate with conservation lands around militaries, bases, to create some buffer space. And Task 8 is to continue to communicate and coordinate with the federal, state, and local entities on our study information. Did you have any questions on these tasks? These are the 8 specific tasks that went into the grant itself, so it sort of is our baseline. Next slide, please. So the actions that will go forward from March through June of 2020 are, again, going through the grant approval process, and that information can be found on the PPACG website, and that's noted up there. And we do have a section on our website for military, so all the information on the grant, if you need more, you can contact Ryan or myself or look on the website. We're currently in the process of doing outreach with Schriever, Peterson, and the Air Force Academy, so a lot of these tasks have already begun. Next slide, please. So let's see. I think the more detailed tasks that are sort of in process are doing a real estate disclosure. That's where we're going to put it on. Not just what we found is that having the information get bundled up into the title work is a way to inform people when they live in an area that may be affected by military training noises, whether they be aircraft noise or dust and smoke, or the hearing of the range bombings, the range at the lower range on Fort Carson, where you hear some of that noise. So we're going to work with realtors, local realtors, to be part of this team to put together language that will help us inform home buyers earlier in the process, and in addition to having something that goes with the title. So that's part of what we're starting to work on there. So it can be concerning if you're in the real estate business, but please believe me, this is something that will work to help not only realtors, but the people buying their properties as well. It's just being more upfront with what to expect instead of being surprised later and wondering why there's noises that seem to be irritating or uncomfortable for some people. Sub-area planning. So that's basically putting together a more detailed plan around certain installations, primarily in this case it'll be Peterson and the Air Force Academy, just to manage some of the growth that's happened in those areas. In the process, we're working with Schriever to help do the buffering process more ahead of time before we start to run into problems with growth. So it's just management of all of that. Any questions?
Not yet. I think that real estate disclosure thing is a great idea, because I love it when planes are flying over and helicopters and things are going boom, but some people don't. So
Yep.
that's going to be good for them to have that up front.
Yeah, and that came up during the study. So we're trying to, there are other, like San Antonio, the area down there, has done some of this work ahead of time. So we have some help from them as far as what they've done and what's worked well for them, so we're not, completely creating things from nothing. But we'll do what works for our communities. So, next, please. Again, this is just going into some more detail, and Sunny's downloaded this so you guys can have copies of it and print it out if you need to. Just going into more of the specifics on what may impact the Fremont County area, which includes the training, but understanding that some of the jets are actually from Buckley. They don't fly off of the Air Force Academy necessarily. Sometimes they come off of Peterson, but a lot of that jet noise can come from various bases, not just the ones in Colorado. We covered stormwater, wildfire, and transportation in the study, and we're going to continue to work on those important topics throughout the implementation process. There is economic potential for Fremont County, Canyon City area to see growth if we do get Space Command at either Peterson or Schriever. This is something to be aware of because the real estate obviously is more expensive in the Springs area, and people are starting to look elsewhere for more affordable yet commutable areas to live in. Next, please. One of the topics that we're going to work on, and that's a picture of DOS Aviation Pueblo Airport area, is to work with the FAA and the airport on renewable energy siting, and in addition to continue our work with wildfire and cooperation between installations in the immediate surrounding communities. Next slide, please. This is the same map that you saw. I believe that we had this in our presentation a few months ago. It goes over the buffer areas that the lower part of that Walker Ranch on the south and southeast sides of the installation are conservation areas now currently, and that was an agreement between the private property owner and the installation to work on those. So we're going to do similar work on some of the other installations. Fort Carson's pretty progressive on their outreach, and they provide a good model, I think, for what we can do moving forward with the other installations in our area. And transportation also, I know they use 115 in addition to Highway 25 when they do some of their convoys. So that will, I don't think that's going to change at all as far as the amount that they're using, but they're good at outreach on that if they do have increased usage, especially 115. Next slide. This is more information on our stand-up of the JLIS policy committee, and Commissioner Payne served on that, which we thank you very much for your time. That was a long process, 3 years or a little bit over, on going through the study itself, and we've reached out to you all to consider a nomination going forward. We'll have about 5 or 6 meetings over the next 18 months. We're kind of spacing them out by quarter, and we would value whoever you decide. If it's Tim again, that's fine. If Tim would like to defer to someone else, that's just as well too, but we do respect your time and try to make these meetings as concise as we can, but yet cover a lot of important information. So think about that, because our meeting will be coming up on July 25th. You can talk to either Brian or myself on that if you have more questions. Next slide, please. The last slide here gives good information on where you can find the study itself. It's under final report in the military section of our website. And our main phone number's up there, and just ask for Brian or Ann. And I can give you our specific extensions. I'm at extension 125. Brian's at extension 126. Did you all have any additional questions or comments?
I don't think I really have any questions, but we really appreciate you keeping us updated and coming down occasionally to inform us of where we are in the process and what is happening, what has been happening. It appears as though an awful lot of work already has occurred, and so I just want to thank you for the efforts that you and Brian have put in on this project.
Yep.
We
thank you.
appreciate being included.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
that's important to us. So thank you very much.
Very good, thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
All right. We will move to item 3. We've got about 6 minutes for public hearings. Item number 3 is authorization of a chairman's signature on a sponsored Colorado Department of Local Affairs Division of Housing Grant application for the Upper Arkansas Council of Governments for single-family owner-occupied housing. And Ms. Judy Lonis is here. Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
That about said it all.
That was it, huh?
That was it. So we are in the process of going back to the Division of Housing for another round of funding. And Fremont County has graciously served as the lead agency and the grantee for that process for the length of time we've been doing it. So we're here to ask you to continue to do that and authorize the chairman's signature on that sponsorship. We are asking only for administrative funds. We're far enough into the program that the program income that's generated from the revolved loans covers the cost of construction. But we don't have enough money in that pool, and we're not allowed to use that pool for the administrative costs. So this grant actually is just for the administrative costs.
This program is used in Chaffee, Custer, Fremont, Lake, and Park.
Park and Teller.
And Teller.
So it is a 6-county region. Yes. So we will be requesting $120,000. That covers both of our staff members who work that program, the loan officer and the rehab specialist. It's capped. The state allows only $7,500 in admin per unit that we rehab, and so that's where the budget comes from. We do 16 homes per year. This hopefully will be another 3-year contract, but this is an annual amount. But the programs that they consider to be high functioning and low risk, they've been able to allow us to do 3 years and not have to come back to you every single year. So the COG then will assume the full responsibility for ensuring that the entire project is carried out according to the program requirements, and we're also responsible for doing all the reporting and administrative tasks. So we have been operating this program since 1987. It is for low to moderate income families, and so the moderate takes you up to about 80% of AMI. It is single family owner occupied, so it's not rentals, it's not multifamily, it's owner occupied single units. Our average loan is just under $11,000. And we're in the halfway through the 3rd year of our contract and of our past one. So we've completed 39 jobs with that. 30 of those were in Fremont County. Fremont County does have the majority of the work. We have the majority of the population, the majority of the units, and so we do the majority of the work here. Total cost in construction under this current contract has been just under $380,000. $301,000 of that was in Fremont County. So we have put a lot back into the community on behalf of these homeowners, but we also have hired contractors. We've paid for supplies and materials and construction stuff. So a lot of money does actually come back into the county. So, questions?
Judy, you explained things so well, I'm not sure how any of us could
Well,
have questions. I know
And
this
you've heard
isn't,
this enough.
this isn't your first rodeo.
Nor yours, so yeah.
Yes,
You know the program.
absolutely.
I think it's, everybody knows that we have a housing problem, shortage, I'm going to say that, so it gives a leg up to some folks to be able to get into a home.
Well, it does. That and the other thing that we always like to point out with the housing market, that being able to preserve the housing stock that we have is as important as trying to create new housing.
Right.
That, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the authorization of the chairman's signature on the sponsored Colorado Department of Local Affairs Division of Housing grant application for the Upper Arkansas Council of Governments for single-family owner-occupied housing rehabilitation program.
Long enough.
I get the easy part, I'll second.
So it's been moved and seconded to authorize the chairman's signature on the DOLA grant application for the Council of Governments. How about that? We'll shorten it up a little
Can
bit.
you shorten
there.
that up?
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye?
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Oh, you just made it.
Yeah, we do have a public hearing scheduled at 10 o'clock, and it's almost there, but this next one should be relatively short, so we'll just move right into that. So it is approval of a letter of support for the Upper Arkansas Area Council of Governments' efforts to preserve housing for low to moderate income families. And again, we have Judy Lonis.
Still here. So in conjunction with the housing rehab application, the state does want to see what each of these counties are doing to support our program and to also contribute to the rehabbing of these homes. And so we had created a list long ago of things that the counties could do to support us. And what Fremont County historically has chosen to do is to reduce building permit fees by $100 per unit rehab within the jurisdiction. You also could waive fees. You also could commit cash. There's a number of ways that you can support the program, and that's totally up to you. But we are just asking for a letter of support with some kind of commitment to the program to support our application with the state.
So I think we're all looking at the list of options there.
Mhm.
It's the same as those except without the check mark.
Without
That's
the check
That's the list of options.
So let me ask Judy, as you said, Fremont County traditionally has chosen to reduce those building permit fees. How has that worked for the program? Is that a good option?
It is a good option, and if you wanted to choose, since this has been going on since the early 90s at this amount, if you wanted to choose to reduce fees by $200, that would be awesome too. But yes,
Or to waive fees altogether would be even
Waive
better.
fees altogether would be really awesome, but we realize what a position that puts you in as well.
Could reduce the sewer and water fees, even
Yeah.
though we don't deal with either one of
deal with
those.
those.
Yes, I wasn't even going to go there with that one, Dwayne, yeah.
Well, we could just waive those county fees right there altogether,
Right.
so. All right.
What is your pleasure? Which one?
All right. I move to approve this letter of support to the Upper Arkansas Area Council of Governments' efforts to preserve this housing for low to moderate income families. I'm choosing to go with the same item to reduce building permit fees, but I would like to leave the amount open until we can actually have a conversation I think would be in order with our building official, simply because I'm not sure how much our building permit fees have gone up in that time. So rather than giving a hard number right now, my motion is to approve it with a reduction in fees to be determined by this board at a near date.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Second.
Okay, I like that idea. It has been moved and seconded to approve a letter of support for the Upper Arkansas Area Council of Governments with reducing the building fee permit by right now an undetermined amount of money until we talk to a building official to determine that amount. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye?
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you, Judy.
Okay, the hour is 10:02. We have 3 public hearings scheduled. The first one is a special events liquor permit for Early Connections Learning Centers, Frontier Rodeo Arena at Pathfinder Park. And we have Les Denson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So if you remember, last year was our first year to bring this rodeo to Fremont County. We're really excited. It was a really strong year for a first year rodeo. We had a great amount of contestants. We had a great amount of spectators. So we're coming to you again this year for our second year, which will be June 29th and 30th at Pathfinder again. We this year are doing a couple of different things. The Saturday event will be our Local Heroes Day. So we'll be honoring first responders, active and veterans, active military veterans, and correctional officers, they'll get their children in for free that day. And then Sunday, the 30th, will be Senior Citizens Day, where anyone 65 and up will get in for the price of a child's ticket. So we're really excited about these new promotions to try to build our audience and bring more people to the rodeo this year. So we're excited about it.
Okay. You guys have any questions yet?
Not yet, but I'm sure I will.
Okay, let's get a staff report, please.
They've submitted all of the paperwork and fees, and they have posted the property. So everything's in order with our office.
Okay, I did notice that you, from last year, increased the size which you wish to be able to have the beer in, which I think is a great idea because I think there was a lot of problem with that last year.
It was too small of an area. It was in the sun, and people wanted to go and sit, and we didn't have any, tables or benches or chairs. We had very limited seating there, which is why we thought that this would be a better option. We would still do what we did last year, which is put up those livestock panels where all those red lines are. So that would be those 6-foot panels, keeping everything contained, along with all the appropriate signage and everything that we would need. We'd also have people stationed to make sure that people aren't walking out of that area with alcohol if they're not supposed to be. Only with people with wristbands are actually consuming alcohol and all of that.
Very good.
Liz, could you talk a little bit about people who will be serving alcohol and what their training will look like?
Sure, they're going to be tip certified, which means, as I understand it, I'm not tip certified, so I can't truly explain it. But that they've been through the legal training that they have to be in order to legally serve alcohol to other people. That they know how to check IDs. We'll have 2 people on staff that'll be working the beer garden there. One of them is a bartender, and the other one is a bar owner. So they understand the importance of maintaining the legality of consuming alcohol.
So are they staff members for you, or are they volunteers for this event? Volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
So what about staffing for those areas that are fenced in? Who's going to make sure that they don't leave those areas?
Those will also be volunteers who will be serving as sort of our security staff, making sure that no one is breaking the rules that we know that we have to follow.
Okay, any other questions at this time?
So that's going to be, it says roped off, is that, you're going to have a temporary fence? How's that going to, what's that physically going to look like?
It'll be panels, those 6-foot horse or livestock panels that
Oh,
you
okay.
see. Mm-hmm.
Because that was a problem last year with people leaving the area.
Correct, right, exactly. It was too small of an area, and I think people were just frustrated having to stand in the sun and watch the rodeo.
Like livestock.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, it definitely needed to be bigger than last year. And
Yes, I'm glad you agree with
I
that.
have no problem with, getting a beer and going up into the stands and watching the rodeo. So I think that's just natural for most
And that's what
folks.
people wanted to do, and it didn't work well.
All right. All right, any further questions?
No.
All right, this is a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing. If there is anyone who wishes to speak on this special event liquor license, now is the time. We have none. So I will close the public hearing. Okay. All right, any other questions?
I don't believe so.
Other comments?
I'm just curious to know if most of the folks who attend come from local, or if they're coming from Colorado Springs, Pueblo, Denver.
That's a good question, and I don't have a really good way of tracking it. I think that anecdotally we could say that most people were local, and that's where we're doing the majority of our advertising is here in Fremont County. We're doing a little bit in Pueblo, a little bit in the Springs, but I think the majority of people are coming from Florence, Penrose, Canyon, the Fremont County area.
And you just answered my next question, which was, how are you going to promote this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I have
All right,
nothing
we
further.
thank you for using Pathfinder Park. It's great to see that
It's a gorgeous
facility
facility.
utilized. Yeah.
It worked
Yes.
really well for us last year, and we're really
Good.
excited to be back again.
That's
and
great
all of
to
the
hear.
contestants loved it, being able to camp in their horse trailers right near the river, like around the arena. Everyone loved it.
Perfect. All right. Thank you.
I think we all agree that there was some problems last year, but it looks to me like you've addressed those problems and those issues. And so with that, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the special event liquor permit, Early Connections Learning Centers, Frontier Rodeo Arena at Pathfinder Park. And
On June
what's-
29th and 30th.
When's the date?
June 29th and 30th.
Yes, that date.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded for
I was
approval of a
frantically
special
looking
event
for it.
liquor license for June 29th and 30th for the Frontier Rodeo Arena, Rodeo at Pathfinder Park. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks so
I
much.
hope to see you all there. It's a lot of fun.
All right.
Okay, thank you. All right, the second of our public hearing is a request for a temporary use permit 19-003 for Far Royal 50 and Ride the Rim. It's a request for approval of a temporary use permit. For these two events, Ride the Rim is scheduled for July 27, 2019, and the Royal 50 race will allow mountain bikes over the course for 2 days. The event will include post-race a festival with beer, music, food sales. The general location will exist off trails on County Road 3A, the Royal Gorge area. And we have Miss Ashley Sack here this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
So tell us about your events there.
Okay. So the first event listed on the permit is the Royal 50, and this is our second year having this mountain bike race. Many of you might remember the Bikes and Brews, which was a road race that we did for 5 years before, and now we've transitioned to a mountain bike race so that we can utilize some of the amazing trails that we've built in the last couple of years. So last year this event took place. The start and finish line was on the Royal Gorge Bridge and Park property. We rode across the bridge and then utilized the trails. Both the courses pretty much stay off of the county road. So we utilize the trails. We cross it once up by the Canyon Rim Trailhead. This year we have opted to move the start and finish and the post-race festival to the Royal Gorge Ranch and Resort, which is of course Cypher's Grand Master ginormous huge fun fantastic plan at the old Buckskin Joe property. Our only challenge with this year's event is that property is currently being developed. So much of what you see in the temporary use permit is our best guess as to what's going to be up there. But of course, we will comply with all of the stipulations in the temporary use permit, no matter where we might need to kind of adjust as necessary. And then the second event is actually Run the Rim. There's only so many mountain bike races I can handle in one summer. So this is a Run the Rim, and it also is very similar to the Royal 50 in the sense that it stays off of county roads, not to be confused with Rim to Rim. I know, sorry. Rim to Rim is the one in October that goes on county roads and then uses the overlook loop, runs to the campground, and comes back. We do not do that. Our start and finish line will be on the Royal Gorge Ranch and Resort property, accesses the trails immediately from that property. I don't even think they'll touch a county road at all, so hopefully we'll stay off. And that's a much smaller event. We don't anticipate more than 100 people. It's really mostly just supposed to be fun for locals, so we get a really local population. I don't think we get more than like 5 or 6 people from out of the county. It's just to celebrate our local running community and our new trails and how beautiful it is in the summertime. So those are the two events. We have a liquor permit that we will be turning in for the Royal 50, and I've spoken with Dottie, and we've talked that that's not due till July 1st, and I think I might wait just a little bit just so we can see what develops at the property so that I can be as accurate as possible with the boundaries of the liquor area, things like that. But essentially it'll be a roped off section, and I hope both events will be a lot of fun. Thank you for your work on all this.
Sure.
This is our first TUP for the Royal 50, so this has been an interesting
Well, I apologize
process.
for that too. Our paperwork said Ride the Rim, but I knew it was Run the Rim too, so.
You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Part of
That's
it
okay.
says Ride the Rim. part
Well,
of it
there's
says
so
Run
much
the Rim, but-
happening. Yeah, there's run, ride, rim, run,
Something on
ride,
the rim.
and
Yeah.
25.
Yeah.
Just show up.
Yes.
And beer.
And beer.
Okay. So you guys have any questions yet?
Not yet.
So, yeah, my only, excuse me, my only question right now is 2 specifically very different events, one scheduled July 27th, the other one not scheduled until August 31st and September 1st.
Yes. So Sean and I have talked extensively about this, and this is a huge permit. So we put all the work in because they're at the same location. We figured that it would just kind of speed things along to put more than one event on this same permit. I know it does sound kind of weird, but always as always, we alert the local authorities as to what event is taking place. We always have the Aries operators up there for safety for the Royal 50, no matter what permit we're filling out. We have appropriate AMR standby medical response team. So yeah, it is a little weird that they're both on the same permit, but Sean assured me that that would just kind of speed things through. And then the $250 is a pretty hefty fee for every single event, especially for Run the Rim. Yep, that's what it's called.
Run the
Rim, which is a really small event. So $250 is basically, 10 of our applicants. So we really appreciate kind of shimmying those in, but just know that we always take appropriate medical and safety precautions at every event that we have.
All right, thank you.
Okay, staff report, please.
Okay, the department has reviewed the application and found it to be complete and a true representation of the request as stated herein. The department finds that all requirements per the Fremont County zoning and development regulations will be satisfied by the application. The applicant is requesting a waiver for the surety bond, and we will have a contingency item that they get the liquor license for the Royal 50.
Who will the liquor license be under? FAR?
Yes.
FAR?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, with this contingency for the liquor license, what if for some reason they decide not to get the liquor license? The race could still go on.
The race could still go on, but they would need to remove the liquor sale portion of it.
Okay. Without beer, you can't ride. I don't know. That's what.
We'll just serve soda. Apple juice.
Yeah, that'll go over.
No, we'll get it in. I promise. I promise. We'll get it in.
Okay. Any other questions right at the moment? Okay, this is a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing. If there's anyone who wishes to speak on this temporary use permit, now is the time.
Who wants apple juice? Nobody? Okay, beer.
Okay. No one is approaching, so I will close the public hearing. I have any other questions. How about you guys?
This looks to me like it's a really a very complete application with all of the required notifications, the comments, everything else, and we just appreciate that because it doesn't always happen that way.
Oh, well, thanks.
So I would like
somebody
to
write a note to my mom. I'm organized.
I'll sign it if you would like. You write it, I'll sign it.
Thank you.
So I do have a question more for Sean, I believe. On the health inspector's deal, she had put the portable toilets, clarify hand washing, and trash disposal. Has that been taken care of?
Yes, it has been taken care of. So originally it was just the chemical toilets, and they revised their agreement with Canyon Rental to include hand washing stations and meet the other requirements.
And drinking water. That's where it comes out of the cistern. Okay. I have no further questions. Do you?
No.
No. All right, Mr. Chair, I move to approve TUP 19-003 for the FAR Run 50 and Run the Rim.
Royal 50 and Run the Rim.
Royal 50 and Run the Rim.
We'll get
See,
it.
now you're getting me. I also included in this motion is the contingency that you must receive the liquor license for the Royal 50 race or remove it from the application. And it also includes a waiver for the surety bond.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve temporary use permit 19-003 for the FAR Royal 50 and the Run the Rim with contingency of the liquor license. If they're going to serve liquor, if not, that come out of the application, and a waiver of the surety bond. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
As always, we wish you luck.
Thank you. And thank you, Sean, for all your hard work. I appreciate it.
My son-in-law came down and rode that Royal 50 last year, and watching him, but watching the rest of those guys, that's a workout all the way around that thing. And a lap is 10 miles or something like that, and it's just amazing watching those guys on those narrow trails. It's something else. It's something I will not do. Yeah, and they enjoy it. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Ashley. All right, the third public hearing is for temporary use permit 19-007 for Camp Trident. It's requesting approval of the temporary use permit for Camp Trident to allow for 1 week of adventure camp for young men ages 13 to 18. The general location is 783 Pinon Drive in Cotopaxi. And we have Neil. Good morning, Neil.
Morning.
Good morning.
This morning.
Morning.
Tell us a little bit about it.
All righty. So Camp Trident is a 501c3. Excuse me. We've been in existence since 2009. This is our 11th year. We've been working primarily in Virginia. However, we've run camps in Massachusetts, West Virginia, and Colorado. Last year we had a provisional license from the state to run the camp out here. I'll be the first to admit I'm very ignorant on the processes in Colorado and have had a crash course over the last year concerning everything from zoning and the way the licensing works out here. So I've been working with Evelyn Chavez at the state level for Department of Children's Services, trying to get the license finalized. And the zoning has been extremely helpful with me here. Everything from notification to the fire marshal to the sheriff's office and county safety highway patrol. We do is run a camp for teenage boys. Bottom line, the intent, we're all military, cadre, prior or active still. And the intent is to try to increase their self-confidence. We do that with a variety of outdoor activities. With the key being that the activities are really just to entertain them, get their attention. When we are talking to them, the lessons that they're getting out of it are far more than just the activities. The activities are just kind of what we would call hoo-yah activities. The real lessons are in having them find out what they got inside, pushing them physically and to think about things that they don't necessarily want to think about. It's also about taking responsibility for themselves and others, showing initiative and leadership, and a lot of teamwork. You know, kids think, you know, you run into somebody at school you don't like, you either fight it out, you argue, or you just stay away from the person. It's about teaching them, hey, the world's full of jackasses. You know, you're going to have them working with you your whole life long. You got to figure out how to get along with people and work towards common goals. So that's the intent of Camp Trident. It's a lot of outdoor activities. We are all, as I say, active or retired military, and the kids come from all over. We bring in inner city kids from Chicago. This will be the first time we've brought them out here to Colorado. Well, we've been working with a couple schools in downtown Chicago, South Side and West Side, for 11 years now. So we're going to continue that. This will be the first time we're bringing in about a half dozen kids from the inner city, and we'll have kids from 7 or 8 other states at least. We'll only have between 12 and 18 kids for the camp here. So, the East Coast, we do them up to 40, 44 kids. Is there any questions I could answer?
Well, first of all, thank you for your service.
Appreciate it.
I don't have any questions yet.
No, but I really liked what you said about helping kids figure out how to take personal responsibility. I think that too often today that just doesn't happen, and so any help that youth can get along the way, I think, is a really good thing. So thank you for that.
I'm usually asked, when am I going to start doing this for men? Usually by the wives, but
Any other questions this time? Staff report, please.
Okay, the department has reviewed the application and found it to be complete and a true representation of the request as stated herein. The department finds that all requirements for the Fremont County zoning and resolution development regulations will be satisfied. The applicant is requesting a waiver of the surety bond, and for contingency, we will need a copy of the child care license, as stated by Neil there from the state. This is one of those that the state wants local approval first, and we would like state approval first, so.
What? Sorry, I'm not seeing this for some reason. When is this?
this will be the 23rd to the 29th of June, coming up here in about 10 days.
23rd to
12
the
days.
29th of June.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions at this time? Okay, this is a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing. Anybody wishes to speak on TUP 19-07, now is the time. Just two of you left. Okay, no one is coming, so I will close the public hearing.
I do have a question,
Okay.
Mr. Chair. I see the note that food service will be discussed as part of the child care licensing, but what is your plan for food service? Because I'm assuming you're going to feed these kids.
Well, we like to cut it down. I think kids eat too much junk food, so we're just cutting down to one meal a day. Again, completely joking.
Okay, the junk food part I get, the one meal a day.
See what they got.
Must be a great.
I'm sorry. So what we do typically is, back in Virginia, the preponderance of the food we have prepared outside. We outsource and bring it in. It's a little different out here. So we will have, the kids will be eating a couple MREs, meal ready to eat, military style packaged food. And they will also, we will be bringing in some of the food will be eating out in local establishments on road trips here or there when we go climbing or into Salida for this or that, and Canyon City. So we kind of bounce around with some of the activities. What we don't outsource, some of the things will be like frozen lasagna. We buy it prepared, we bring it up to the camp, we put it in the oven I have a cabin up there, which is kind of where the cadre will base out of the cabin. The kids will be in a big former military tent, and that's they'll be on cots and sleeping bags out in the tent. But we do have a full kitchen facility that has been inspected by the county health inspector last week. So I think we're all good with that. I did talk to her about some of the technicalities. Bottom line, we use disposable, I hate to say it, we use a lot of paper, disposable plates and plastic, or disposable silverware as well. That way we don't have anything being recycled. Our water source, I do have a well up there, but we've been bringing in all bottled water. We buy it at Walmart, cases and cases. That way we don't have to, have anyone worried about what our sources are for those type of things.
Okay, great, thank you.
Anything else?
That answered my question, was the water, so thanks.
There you go.
I don't have any other questions.
Nope, I'm good.
Nope.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve temporary use permit 19007 for Camp Trident with the contingency of providing a state license for the child care and waiver request for the surety bond.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve temporary use permit 19-007 for Camp Trident, June 23rd through 29th, near Cotopaxi, with a contingency of the state child care license before operation and a waiver for the surety bond. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all for your
Good
time.
luck.
Yeah,
Appreciate
good
it.
luck with that event. I hope it goes really well for you.
It will.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no further business before us, we are adjourned.